morning, everybody. I'm your host, Crystal, and once again, this is an edition of the 9 o'clock meltdown in my apartment, in my little jam room that I have going on, and over speakerphone, hailing from Minneapolis, I have the beautiful and very, very talented Jessica Skilar. Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on the podcast. I'm so excited to be here.
Of course, of course. And Jessica, we did an interview, many years ago now, back when I was at the radio station KUWS. And we talked about your music and kind of where you had started with that. And if I recall correctly, you didn't start playing guitar and really singing until your 30s.
Yeah, I started playing guitar at the age of 21, very, very timidly in my apartment, and ended up trading Sarah Softitch hair for guitar lessons. Mm-hmm. And then at about 29, she convinced me to be on her, it might have been 30 actually. She convinced me to be in her, at the coffee shop, Wuso's Cafe, she would host a little, like a, where everybody that's all her students kind of do a little show for their moms.
Oh, okay. A showcase.
Yeah. So just for her students. And I was the only one in this showcase, to my memory, that wasn't 7. And I was so nervous, and I didn't tell anybody I was doing it. And afterwards, all the moms whose other, whose kids were in it came up and they were like, "You did such a good job." But I was shaking and terrified. And that was my first real debut as a musician.
Yes. And since that time, you do have one song up on iTunes, Thin Mist. I listen to it all the time, and I absolutely love your voice. You've got this really rich sound, and with the accompanying acoustic guitar, it's really, really beautiful, and you paint this amazing picture of coming back from California and driving through the streets of Duluth, and it's all foggy and misty out. Really, really beautiful song. I suggest people go grab it and listen to it right now. But you have put out a few EPs, a few singles from there, and I've seen you done multiple shows at Homegrown as well.
Yeah, I used to do Homegrown. Even after I moved to the cities, I would come back and do Homegrown until a few years ago now. Yeah, and I do actually have a little EP that I didn't officially ever release, that Bernie Larson, who came to Duluth for a while and ended up liking my music and kind of helping me produce an EP, did. And my very most starstruck moment was he had played with Lucinda Williams for 100 years and was friends with her and her band because they had all played together. And he got her band to play on this EP.
Wow.
So, so they're on there. Yes. Along with really, Eric Koskinen is really cool. He was on there and but really, yeah, so that was kind of a moment. But then it kind of fizzled and I never actually released it. But I have some physical copies of it.
Jessica, you're holding out on me.
I can mail you one in snail mail if you want.
That'd be amazing. Yes, please. Yes, please. So that was your music career here in Duluth. Let's jump into what you do best. You're actually a hairstylist. You kind of alluded to it before with the guitar lessons. How did you get started as a hairstylist? Was it always a passion of yours?
I always loved coloring my hair purple and rainbow colors, and would color my friend's hair, but I really felt like it would be a not very great way to retire. I didn't feel like it was a very good Minnesotan, career. So I was in nursing school because that seemed more, the way of the, 9 to 5 or whatever. I was going to
the way of Duluth,
make a good salary and good pension or whatever. And then in nursing school, I was in medical terminology class, and I wanted to die because it was so boring. And this woman next to me was like, "Who cuts your hair?" And it was my first day of school there. And I said, I cut it myself with a leg shaver. Because I wanted like a razor cut, but I didn't have a razor. So I just grabbed like a shaver and started hacking at my hair. And apparently it was really cute. And she said, you need to get out of here and you need to go to beauty school. And so I looked at her and I looked at that medical terminology blackboard and I was like, that's a really good idea. And I called the next day and I said, when's the last day to drop out of this course? And they said, today. And then I called the beauty school and I said, when is your next course starting? And they said, like, in 3 days.
All
so
right.
I just switched everything and never saw that woman again. But she changed my life.
Very cool. Oh, very cool. And Jessica, you actually had your own salon here in town called J Lyida. It's actually not too far from me, where I'm at now. But was that a very gradual process? I mean, opening your own salon?
You know, it just kind of happened. I was working as an employee, and then I became an independent contractor, which looks the same in the salon. It just, you're not working for the person, you're just renting a chair.
Oh, okay.
And that's what I did for a while. And then I was kind of on the fence about what to do with where I was working and thinking, should I, maybe try something else? And then this space came open that had been a salon, and I just impulsively kind of called the landlord and said I want it. And he was like, okay, and just was like, I think you will be a great candidate. He didn't do a check on me, didn't make sure I had any money. He just rented me the space, and with $3,000, I opened a salon.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah, usually salons are big money, but
yeah,
wow.
It was nothing. I had nothing, and that money. It was so funny because it was like a bond that my mom had saved from her mom.
Oh, wow.
And the name Lydia is my middle name, which is also my great grandma's middle name. So while me and my mom were putting in these pretty shitty tiles in the floor, but they were all we could afford. I was looking at my mom, and we're cutting these tiles and putting them down and thinking about the money that came from her mom and the name that came from my grandma or my great grandma. So it was all these women in my family culminating to make this entrepreneurial dream come true. It was really cool.
Yes, and you, if I'm not mistaken, you were actually quite successful at J Lydia's.
J Lydia it was great. It was fun. It was awesome. Yes, financially it was very successful, and for me at the time, and what was my favorite success about that salon was that I would host get-togethers and have local art and local community gatherings, and it felt like a very strong hub of community connection to me, which is the best thing about it.
Yeah, and actually I think
live music. Yeah.
Yes, I think that's how we met. Actually, I was dating a sound guy, a local sound guy at the time, and he brought me to your salon, and I think I remember thinking, why is there music in a hairstyling place? This is unique, and really, really cool.
That is so, see?
Yes.
That was a success. The whole thing, and I love doing hair because it's really a creative outlet for me, but my passion is community, and my passion is bringing people together. My passion about doing hair is spending that time with people, and getting to do music was about connecting. That's how I feel the most alive. And so during those little events, I would throw, my friends would call it hip hop at the barbershop, and we would have different little shows. It was, oh my gosh, that was so much fun. And so I've done that a little bit here now in Minneapolis, but of course, since COVID, nothing
right
at all for anyone.
Yeah. I'm hopeful for maybe June, July, we can kind of all get back to some normalcy here. So hopefully by the summertime, you can open that back up again. Speaking of COVID, and now you have a salon down in Minneapolis, right?
Yep.
Okay, cool. How has that really changed for you? I know salons weren't open for a while during the really big lockdown back in kind of March. How has that changed? How has COVID really changed what you're doing? I mean, I've seen several photos from Mary Bew and a couple other of your clients and friends that, you've got masks on and you try to social distance while you're doing their hair. Is that really a big damper on what you do?
So there's a few things that, well, first of all, when we closed, I pivoted. Well, first I didn't know what I was going to do. I started making jewelry and, a couple people bought jewelry, but I was like, this is not going to be enough to pay. Because I also purchased the building my salon is in.
Oh, okay.
The third day of the lockdown.
Oh.
So that was fucking terrifying. But then making earrings or whatever, I was like, this is not going to pay this mortgage. So I was sewing a mask just for myself, and one of my clients was like, would you sew one of those that I can buy? And I was like, yeah, I guess. I don't know. I haven't sewed in 20 years, but I'll give it a whirl. And I ended up sewing 450 masks that were just requested from people who didn't know where to get them. Like, I was getting sheets from Target on, curbside pickup and cutting them up because there was nowhere to get fabric. Oh,
wow.
Yeah. So that was a really crazy pivot that I didn't expect that happened and saved my business. It was amazing. And then opening back up, we can be at 50% capacity. So I've lost a couple stylists. One was pregnant and doesn't know what COVID's going to do, so she didn't want to come back to work. One just naturally left, and one I kind of encouraged to move on because protocols were going to require way more disinfecting than I thought she could be capable of.
Oh, yeah.
So I looked back at my money from the year before to last year, and even though it felt okay, I was like, oh, there's a significantly lower amount of money that came through, but still it's actually fine. It's been, working really well. And now we can be at 50% capacity. And we have to be distanced in the salon. We're all getting, we're not required to, but we're all getting COVID tested every week right now because you can get it free in Minnesota. So we're just doing it every week because we're around each other. And I have a lot of clients that are high risk, and I just want to be as careful as I can. So we just always wear masks. When I do shampoos, I put on a face shield because we're face to face, even though we're both wearing masks.
Right.
And I just really try to be as safe as I can and as clean as I can. Like, we got, the state board comes in and makes sure that we're following all the sanitation guidelines and stuff. And they've come in before, and I've always passed. It's been fine. But this time when they came in, I was like, oh my gosh, I've never been more ready for you. I am this is the cleanest place on the planet.
Yeah. And Jessica, if we can kind of jump back a little bit, I remember when you kind of made that leap down to Minneapolis. I just remember seeing you on social media and on Instagram, and you weren't quite sure where things were going. I think you also got married along the way as well, and you were kind of renting a chair from a salon but didn't feel that was the right fit. How did owning a second salon now, how did that kind of culminate? Was that just the drive, or did that kind of mirror what you had done up here in Duluth?
Honestly, it was also kind of on accident. I started doing hair down here, and after I feel like my salon in Duluth was really, really a magical gift of an environment where all of the stylists treated each other amazing. We loved each other. It was the best feeling to be there. People would just stop in all the time. It was like a hub. So when I moved down here, I guess I just didn't realize that a lot of people in the beauty industry don't treat each other like that. And it was very disappointing. Like I did not, I was like, oh my gosh, you guys treat each other bad. Like this is not comfortable. I don't want to be in this environment. So I ended up actually quitting doing hair for a minute. I was like, I'll just do skincare because then I can just be in a little room with my clients because I'm licensed to do skincare. But I'm so extroverted and I'm so social. I really missed being loud and with a room full of people. So I ended up just renting a chair. I was going to start just 2 days a week and just do a few clients that I had made over the time that I had been here before I quit doing hair. And then I loved it so much that I realized I can't be locked in a quiet room. I have to be out. And then the same thing, this salon was just on Craigslist. Somebody was just done and sold a salon with stylists on Craigslist.
Wow.
And I just bought it. I was like, oh, I guess, yeah, I'll have that. It was a 350 square foot, tiny, tiny little space. And it was super adorable. And it came with 2 stylists, one of whom is still with me. The other one is the one who stopped when she was pregnant. But I ended up moving after about 2 years, one door down into a different building, which is the building I now own. And the salon is more than 3 times the size.
Wow.
So, yeah. So that's been the slow kind of just this organic growth of the salon and I call it my empire. My empire.
That's awesome. And now, Jessica, do you still own the salon up here in Duluth, or have you sold that?
Well, I sold it actually. It's actually not open anymore. The landlord decided to do something else with it, but I sold it to Jana a year after I moved, and then she owned it for 6 years, I think. So it was still my name, but not anything to do with me after that.
Gotcha. So you also sold the name with it too.
Yeah, which was weird because people would message me when stuff, if their appointment didn't work out or something, they'd message me. I'm like, no, that's not my business.
Oh, no.
I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, and I think actually I had posed that question out on Facebook when I was thinking about dropping my business name as well. And I did that maybe 2-3 years ago now. And you had actually made that very same comment that, it's good to start anew and to start fresh and kind of let the old ties go, as grand as they are. So thank you. Thank you for that. That was wonderful to hear. And I did drop it. And yes, time for fresh stuff.
Yeah, now my salon is named Minnesota Nice AF. Yeah, so that was also new, I was like, I wonder if I should try to get J Lyida or if I could use it, I was like, that's not me. I mean, that's me, literally, that is my name, but
right.
I was like, I need a new vibe, a new feeling. I want to be local, ecological, friendly with the environment, working to build community. I'm like, Minnesota Nice as fuck. That's the name. That's what we did.
I love it.
If I say nice AF to somebody and they're like, I don't know what that means, then I'll say it's nice and friendly.
Oh, there you go.
So that way, if I have a 85, I do have an 85-year-old client.
Yeah.
And she does not know that. She calls it nice and friendly. And she doesn't like the name.
Oh.
She's like, nice and friendly. I don't like it.
Oh. Trust the older generation to say their opinions.
Okay, Margaret.
Oh, that's really cute. Oh, that's fun. Jessica, that sounds absolutely amazing. I mean, this kind of culmination of just your process and how things kind of fall into place. And it seems like you put a lot of this energy out there and it seems to kind of be culminating back to you. That's amazing. That's amazing that you own or have owned 2 salons now. Sounds like the second one is doing really, really well, even considering that we're in a global pandemic at the moment. But I want to talk about your more recent endeavor that I've seen up on Instagram. You are becoming a brand advisor or a influencer?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I'm not really intending to become an influencer, although I sort of am unintentionally. But I'm intending to become a business coach, because one of the things I did between owning Salon 1 and Salon 2, which is also Salon 3 because I moved it and tripled it, is I also built an on-site bridal and makeup business.
Oh.
Okay. Hair and makeup business, because I was only working a little bit at the salon and I wanted to make more money but not pay for more chair rent. So I did an entire business online that had no location and was just me building this brand, and it was enough that I could have quit the other job. It was really successful. Wow. And I realized I can help people do this. I did this pretty fast. And I think I did it really well. And I could easily help other people. I always say women, and I usually coach women, but there are men too. But I always say women, or people that don't like to prefer men or women are now often in our industry. But I really like helping people grow their business. And find for me, it was finding the right energy, finding the right fit, being able to find your name and your branding and create who your target market is so you can talk to the right people and then create kind of the visuals and build a whole business. And right now you can do that really well, pretty much for free online with nothing but basically an iPhone. If you have a laptop, that's great, but you don't really even need one. You can create a business right now with nothing if you know how. Right. And that's what I like helping people learn how to do.
Jessica, it seems like you're really successful in this regard. I've seen a lot of your Instagram posts and things like that, and they're all very entrepreneurial, positive, and here's coaching lesson number 1. Here's some tips. Here's this, that, and the other thing.
I'm kind of a nerd. I realize I love this. It's I get so nerdy, I guess, is about how to do this. I do feel it's a recipe, and I love, because I guess in my industry, it's a lot of creatives, and not just my industry. Part of what I love is helping people who are painters or jewelers or people who are really creative move into the ability to monetize it. Okay. And make a really good living, and not just, because a lot of people that are really creative are I'm just artistic. I'm not, I'm not a money person. I'm well, you can't help people if you're not making a living. And it's not really realistic right now. You have to make a living. So I kind of bringing the aspect of a business in with heart and with integrity and with, give it all of the things that people need in order to not hate money is all the good things, bringing this, my salon makes really good money. And then I use that to build the community and to give back. And we had one random thing. My salon is about 6 blocks from the place where George Floyd was murdered. And it's just down the street. That was 38th in Chicago. I'm 38th in Bloomington. And we reopened right after the riots. And we actually postponed reopening because it was it was just so raw. And we were we can't come into this space and say we want your money right now. This is there's too much. So we actually organized food and diaper drives through the business.
Oh.
People could bring us, I also had like where you got 20% off your retail sale if you bought or brought a full can of baby formula or a pack of diapers. Because that was where we were at, and that was what the community needed at that time. So that, like, I feel like if you can really see the power that you can create, it gives you the drive to build your business and not just like, oh, what about my money? You know, like if you have heart in it and you have your soul in it and you're doing what is actually like you're passionate about and you're making a difference. Right.
It makes it more authentic.
It's more authentic. Yeah. And that's kind of where that's where I coach people from. And that's what I want to like help people to see and to create.
Yeah. Jessica, that's absolutely wonderful. Who have you helped along the way? I said you're more, you had stated that you're more kind of geared towards women. Now, is that all kind of entrepreneurs, or are you more focused on the beauty industry?
So I do help all entrepreneurs, and I'm actually in the process of broadening my focus from the beauty industry. And I do love the beauty industry. And obviously I've opened and have successful salons in it. And so I do have hairstylists who come to me and say, I want to learn what you're talking about with this. And then we have Zoom calls and we have follow-ups and we have accountability and we work on exactly what they need to do to build their business. And I've helped people in like people that make jewelry and people that do like a photographer and other people who kind of are in kind of periphery areas. But what I was just actually in the last few days thinking about what my branding is going to look like going forward, because I really want to broaden it to all people who are creatives who are looking at trying to build their business, or even like come up with what exactly, like what ideas they have and where they can go from there and what's the best avenue to take. That's what I love to do.
Yeah. And Jessica, more of a kind of, I guess, an entrepreneurial question for you. Now, I've done a lot of interviews over the last 12 years, and I've heard a lot from a lot of independent artists that there's so much to kind of cut through, and you need to come up with something unique, and you need to stand out, and ba-da-da-da-da. What kind of advice would you have for someone that's maybe starting out and maybe feeling a little downtrodden that maybe they don't have something as unique as the next person, or they feel that there's so much out there right now, whether that's on social media or YouTube or just on the internet in general? What would you say to them to kind of get them launched?
I would say they're right and they're wrong.
Okay.
It's 100% oversaturated. There are a million people starting out in every market right now. But the thing that I think is the most important to remember is that, one, you don't have to talk to everybody. You don't need everybody to know who you are. You only need the people who need to hear your story to hear your story. So don't be afraid to be really, really authentic and share really, not like really personally, because a lot of people do that right now just to get attention. But don't be afraid to be personal, and don't be afraid to share who you are so people can gravitate to you who need to hear your story. I think we're unique, and we really have a specific way that we speak and a specific way that we come across. And if we're not afraid to be really authentic with who we are, the people who need us are magnetized to us naturally.
Yeah, I can see that, definitely. And I've also noticed a kind of swing in how things are done these days. I mean, when you and I grew up, it was the, professional commercial, and we need to show how awesome this product is, and ba-da-da-da-da. And now, only in the last probably 5 years, there's really been a swing to authenticness. It doesn't matter if there's an or an in the script. People really want to see somebody film something on their iPhone. And I mean, there's so many reviews out there of unboxing now. That's just someone giving their opinion on a computer or a phone or something like that. And there's definitely a more of a swing towards that. And
Absolutely.
It makes it easy.
Yeah. Yeah, people want to know. And I feel like particularly with COVID, like we're all very isolated and we're all kind of on our own in these little islands. And so just seeing someone like pick up their iPhone and start recording themselves, like right now I've been making reels and they're just ridiculous. Like they're all like so goofy and like just, I don't really know how to do it, but I'm learning as I go and I'm just posting everything I make. Because like people don't care. Like it's like they want to see you be a goofball. You know, they kind of want to see you be uncomfortable because then they know they can be uncomfortable. You know, they want to see you kind of try because then they see that they can try. They want to know that we're human. And then honestly, right now, a lot of people are just really dying to feel a connection to a person in a real way.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes.
It's lonely. It's lonely right now. COVID is lonely.
Yes, COVID is very, very lonely. COVID also makes people angry. It makes people feel extreme emotions. Yeah, it's an odd time that we live in. But Jessica, it's amazing that you're able to kind of keep things going, keep community flowing down in the cities. I love that you've opened your salon up to community a bit more. It sounds like a bit more than what was going on up here even.
Yeah, I did. I loved having the community events down here and doing local art and bringing in music. I would actually host makers markets here where I would find local artists and be like, do you want to have a table and sell your things at this? I would call them like a full moon market where we'd have live music and just like a 3-hour little market. Those were so much fun, you know, and now with COVID, it's like, well, we can't have people in, but we can donate back out to the community. So like 1% of all of my retail gross sales through the salon is donated back to Second Harvest Heartland. And like just trying to be really intentional even about like what products I carry. Like everybody I carry right now also does that. And they're all smaller lines. And I've been making my own. Actually, I've been starting my own product line, which is another really interesting thing that I was actually working on this morning.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Your own
Minnesota
product
NAF
line.
Botanicals.
Okay.
I have a dry shampoo that I make myself. And I'm working on there's an organic company that I've been working with to create a branded shampoo, conditioner, and a hair tonic that will be Minnesota NAF Botanicals, Minnesota Nice AF Botanicals.
Ooh. Do you have a timeline for that to come out, or?
Well, the dry shampoo is already out.
Okay.
And I do also have shampoo and conditioner bars that are also available on the salon website. I don't make them. I was going to try to make them, but I realized that it's really hard to make a shampoo bar, and I'm really picky about how well products work. They have to work as good as like the most expensive high-end shampoo, but not have any bad ingredients in them. For me, like I'm very. So I found one. There's a woman in the state of Virginia who makes this shampoo bar. I've tried to buy the recipe from her, and she will not have it. And she's amazing. Yeah, I think I've never met her, but she makes my shampoo and conditioner bars that I sell right now.
Very
as
cool.
The salon brand.
Yes. Yeah. Oh, Jessica, that's amazing. You've got so many amazing things going on right now. You're basically an influencer, you're a salon owner, you've done music, you're a community advocate and member, and now you have your own line of hair products. That's amazing.
Yeah. My next music goal after COVID is over, I really want to start, and I've always like written my own music, but I really want to be in a Fleetwood Mac cover band. That's like my musical dream.
Wonderful. Well, considering that you've made it this far and made a complete success out of yourself, I'm sure it will happen.
I asked Mark Gartman if he would be the Fleetwood to my Mac, and he said yes. So I'm going to hold him to that.
All right. There you go.
Yeah.
Gartman's got it going on.
You know, I want to be Stevie, so I'm looking for a Christy McVie, and then hopefully Mark Gartman will be everybody else.
There you go. Yeah, he's extremely talented.
Yeah, we'll see if he still wants to do it. But
yeah, I'm sure he will. I
think so. Yeah, so if he listens to this, he'll know that this is my expectation.
Yes, definitely. I'll send it to him.
Or Steven Tyler. If Steven Tyler, I messaged Steven Tyler, so if he gets back to me, Mark Gartman's out.
Oh, you're gonna put those guys against each other? But they're so different.
I know, but that's just the way it is.
All right. Personally, I'd choose Mark Gartman over Steven Tyler, but that's me.
But it's not about Steven Tyler's very talented. Mark Gartman is extremely talented. Mm-hmm. But Steven Tyler wears really cool clothes. It's really an image thing.
Okay. All right.
Mark Gartman does wear really good hats, though.
He does.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll have them like wrestle or something.
Ooh, there you go. Do a hat off. Oh, all right. Jessica, it was absolutely fabulous to hear from you again. I am so glad things are going really well for you, even though there's a global pandemic going on. Keep putting out great content. People can find you on Instagram, Facebook, or they can shoot you an email if they want to get a hold of you. What is your Instagram handle, your Facebook handle, and your email address if somebody wants to reach out to you for entrepreneurial work or just wants to set up an appointment at your salon?
So it's Jessica Skilar, Skilar, which is a weird spelling. JessicaSkylar.com. Jessica Skilar is my Instagram handle. Mm-hmm. Jessica Skilar at Gmail. And that's a lot of them. Pretty much Jessica Skilar is the word.
Fabulous. And then your hair salon products are available on your website, correct?
They're through the MNNAF.com. MinnesotaNiceAsFuck.com is my website.
All right.
You can actually spell out Minnesota Nice as Fuck, and I bought that and have it forwarding to my website too.
Okay. All right.
Because I just thought it was fun.
Wonderful. Jessica, it was so wonderful to hear from you again. I am so glad things are going well for you down in the cities. Keep it rolling. It just seems like there's a lot of great things happening for you, and I can tell they're going to keep happening for you. I hope either Mark Gartman or Steven Tyler get a hold of you.
Whichever one is fine, honestly.
Well, and
I like them both.
Yes.
I think I like Steven Tyler. I have a lot of preconceived ideas about him because I've never met him. Yeah. But mostly I like, his talent, and I like that, he does like go sing with people on the street sometimes. At least I've seen it on video.
Yeah. All right, excellent. But my suggestion is to have Steven Tyler and Mark Gartman have a hat off and see which one wears a hat better.
Oh, God. That's going to be hard. Because Steven Tyler pairs his hats with really good sunglasses, too. Mm-hmm.
But then you'll know.
Mark Gartman better start thinking about that.
All right. Sounds great, Jessica. Have a wonderful rest of the day. I know you're headed to the salon here, so have a wonderful day. And thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk with me and the wider world.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Of course. And we'll keep in touch and talk soon.
All right. Sounds good.
Yep. Bye.
Bye.
There's a fog over this city and it's fogging up my windows, and I can't see the street. I can't see the street. And I never knew before now, but I don't like Las Vegas, but it was worth the trip to see what a thin mist this all has really been for me. I almost bet it all on the paper moon you pasted up in front of me. I put it all down on the table for the world to see. How very foolish of me. Then suddenly the wind picked up and that perfect paper moon, it blew off into the breeze. It was then that I saw you leave. It was then that I saw you leave. I almost bet it all on the paper moon you pasted up in front of me. I put it all down on the table for the world to see. How very foolish of me. Now I'm back in Minnesota, silently moving through this fog, and the neighbors, they're all asleep. I'm alone with a heart that is free. I'm alone with a heart that is